The council chamber smelled like fear. Ambassador Rebecca Hayes could taste it in the recycled air as she walked past rows of alien delegates. Each species represented here had sent their finest diplomats, military advisors, and scientists. All of them wanted answers. Most of them wanted blood. The Lumeri sat in crystalline silence, their translucent bodies refracting the chamber's cold light into rainbow patterns. The Churan delegates buzzed and clicked in their section, mandibles twitching with barely contained agitation. Across from them, the aquatic Taurans floated in their environmental tanks, tentacles coiled tight with tension. The Brock delegation remained motionless, their reptilian eyes tracking every movement Rebecca made. She took her position at the central platform. The weight of 1,000 hostile stares pressed down on her shoulders. 23 years. That was how long humanity had been part of this galactic community. 23 years of careful diplomacy, trade agreements, and cultural exchange. All of it might end today. Crystallis rose from the Lumeri section. The ancient being had witnessed countless conflicts across millennia. Its voice resonated through the chamber like wind chimes in a storm. Ambassador Hayes, you stand accused of violating the Concordia Accords. Specifically, Article 7, Section 3, Prohibition of Destabilizing Military Innovation. Rebecca nodded. I understand the charges. Do you deny that humanity constructed the vessel designated UHNS Retribution? No. A ripple of shock ran through the delegates. The Churan section erupted into agitated buzzing. Several Taurans changed color in their tanks, displaying patterns of distress. Crystallis continued. Do you deny that this vessel destroyed 47 combat-capable ships in less than 3 minutes? No, the pirates attacked first. They threatened civilian transports. Pirates armed with military-grade shields and weapons, Crystallis said. Ships capable of withstanding megaton-class impacts. Your vessel vaporized them. We have sensor logs from 14 different sources. Shall we review them? The chamber's central display activated. Rebecca watched the footage she had already seen dozens of times. The retribution appeared on screen, sleek and angular, nothing like the curved, elegant designs favored by galactic shipwrights. The pirate fleet surrounded it like predators circling prey. Then the retribution opened fire. Streams of solid metal tore through space at impossible velocities. Shields that should have deflected the impacts simply failed. Pirate ships burst apart as kinetic rounds punched through their hulls. Laser grids created kill zones where nothing could survive. In less than 3 minutes, 47 ships became expanding clouds of debris. The Brock military advisor leaned forward in his seat. What weapons are those? Rebecca kept her voice steady. Railguns. They accelerate solid projectiles using electromagnetic force. The rounds travel at 0.3% of light speed. Primitive kinetic weapons, a Tauran's delegate gurgled. We abandoned such crude technology 10,000 years ago. Because they work, Rebecca said. Your shields are designed to deflect energy weapons and absorb explosive impacts. They were never built to stop hypersonic metal. Crystallis turned its faceted head toward her. You exploited a weakness in galactic defense systems. You built a weapon specifically designed to bypass our protections. We built a weapon specifically designed to save lives. By taking them. By stopping what is coming. The chamber fell silent. Rebecca had their attention now. She accessed her data pad and transmitted files to every delegate simultaneously. 6 months ago, our research vessel Pathfinder was conducting a survey mission in the Void Belt. You all know that region. Every species avoids it. Do you know why? A Churan delegate's translator clicked to life. Ancient superstition. The dark zones have always been considered unlucky. Not superstition, warning. Rebecca activated the central display again. This is what we found. The image showed a massive structure floating in empty space. It was old, impossibly old, built with technology that made current galactic engineering look primitive. The delegates leaned forward, curiosity overriding anger. Our team boarded the station, Rebecca continued. What they found changed everything. This station is a tomb and a warning beacon. It belongs to a species that called themselves the Wardens. They built it as their final message to whoever came after them. She pulled up translated text, ancient symbols converted into galactic standard. They wrote about an enemy, a plague of living machines called the Harvesters. These things do not negotiate. They do not take prisoners. They consume entire civilizations and convert the biomass into fuel for their ships. The Brock advisor's scales rippled. Fairy tales, ghost stories to frighten hatchlings. We thought so too, until we found this. The display shifted to sensor scans, rows upon rows of massive ships, each one 3 times the size of the largest galactic dreadnought. Harvester vessels, over 10,000 of them. They are in hibernation mode right now, but the Warden's data says they wake on a cycle. The last awakening was 50,000 years ago. Your civilizations did not exist then. Crystallis moved closer to the display, light bending through its crystalline form. How long until they wake? The Warden's calculations suggest anywhere from 5 to 50 years. The cycle is accelerating. The chamber erupted. Delegates shouted questions in dozens of languages. The translation system struggled to keep up. Rebecca waited for the chaos to settle. A Tauran's admiral spoke, tentacles gesturing sharply. Even if this threat is real, what gives humanity the right to build such a weapon? You could turn it against us. We could, Rebecca admitted. Just like you could turn your fleets against us. Trust is the foundation of any alliance. I am asking you to trust that we built the Retribution for the same reason the Wardens built their station, to give the next generation a fighting chance. One ship will not stop 10,000, Crystallis said. You are right. One ship cannot win this fight, but we are not asking you to let us fight alone. Share the technology, build more ships, train crews from every species. When the Harvesters wake, we face them together or we die separately. The silence that followed felt heavy enough to crush worlds. Rebecca stood straight, refusing to show fear. Everything humanity had built in this galaxy hung in the balance. Crystallis was about to speak when alarms screamed through the station. Emergency lights bathed the chamber in red. A Lumary technician's voice crackled over the intercom. Energy spikes detected in the void belt. Massive readings, matching Harvester signatures. Rebecca's blood turned to ice. Not 5 years, not 50 now. Panic spread through the council chamber like wildfire. Delegates scrambled from their seats, shouting into communication devices. The Churan swarm broke formation, their disciplined ranks dissolving into chaos. Taurans changed colors rapidly in their tanks, flashing distress patterns. Even the stoic Brock showed fear, scales rising along their spines. Rebecca fought to keep her voice calm. How many ships? The Lumary technician's response came through static-filled speakers. 50 confirmed contacts. Vanguard formation. They are moving toward the nearest inhabited systems. Which systems? New Haven Colony. Population 8 million. Mixed species settlement. They have 72 hours before impact. Crystallis turned to face the assembly. The ancient being's usual composure cracked, showing something Rebecca had never seen in a Lumary before. Terror. Mobilize all fleet assets, every ship, every fighter. Send them to New Haven immediately. A Brock admiral pulled up tactical displays, his clawed fingers dancing across holographic controls. Our nearest battle group is 96 hours away. The Tauran's deep space carriers need 80 hours. Churan Hive fleet requires 78 hours minimum. What about the Lumary dreadnoughts? Someone asked. 84 hours. We cannot reach them in time. The math was simple and brutal. 8 million people would die while help traveled through the void. Rebecca saw the same realization dawn on every face in the chamber. This was not a drill, not a political debate. Real people were about to be consumed by machines that had slept for 50,000 years. A Torrens fleet coordinator spoke, her translated voice tight with stress. We should evacuate New Haven, get as many people off-world as possible. With what ships? The Brock Admiral demanded. Every military vessel is too far away. Civilian transports cannot carry 8 million people in 72 hours. Then what do we do? Watch them die. Rebecca pulled out her communication device. Her hands shook, but her voice remained steady. There is one ship close enough to help. Every eye in the chamber turned to her. Crystallis understood first. No, absolutely not. One vessel against 50 Harvester warships is suicide. You are probably right, Rebecca said, but it is better than doing nothing. She activated her secure channel. Ambassador Hayes to UHNS Retribution. Commander Park, are you receiving? Static crackled for a moment. Then a woman's voice came through, professional and controlled. This is Commander Lisa Park. I hear you, Ambassador. We have been monitoring the situation. How fast can you reach the void belt? A pause. Rebecca imagined Lisa consulting with her crew, running calculations, weighing impossible odds. When she spoke again, her voice carried absolute certainty. 48 hours at maximum burn. We will be there. The chamber exploded with protests. A Churin delegate's mandibles clacked furiously. This is madness. One human ship cannot stop 50 Harvester vessels. You are right, Rebecca said. One ship probably cannot win, but it can buy time. Every minute the Retribution survives is another minute for evacuation, another minute for your fleets to get closer. Crystallis stepped forward, crystal body pulsing with agitation. Commander Park, this is not an order. You do not have to do this. Your crew does not have to die. Lisa's laugh came through the speaker, short and sharp. With respect, Crystallis, my crew and I did not join the military to watch children burn. We are going. Retribution out. The channel went silent. Rebecca looked at the assembled delegates. Now you know what humanity built, not just a weapon, a promise. When monsters come in the night, someone will stand between them and the innocent. That is what the Retribution represents. The Brock Admiral studied his tactical display, grudging respect in his eyes. What is your ship's combat capability against Harvester-class vessels? Unknown. We have never fought one before. The Warden data suggests they use biomechanical beam weapons, plasma bombardment, and matter conversion fields. Our armor is designed to resist all three. Designed and tested are different things. I know. The Torrens coordinator pulled up probability calculations. Even with optimal performance, one ship facing 50 has a survival rate of less than 3%. Lisa knows the odds, Rebecca said quietly. She is going anyway. A young Churin observer, barely old enough for diplomatic service, spoke up. Why? Why would she fly to her death for people she does not know? Rebecca turned to face the young alien. Because that is what humans do. We evolved on a world that tried to kill us every single day. Predators hunted us. Diseases ravaged us. Natural disasters destroyed our cities. We learned that survival meant protecting the group, even at personal cost. We learned that sometimes the only way to save lives is to risk your own. She pulled up an image of New Haven Colony on the central display. The settlement sprawled across a green world, cities gleaming under a yellow sun, parks full of children, markets where dozens of species traded goods and stories, families from across the galaxy living together in peace. Look at them, Rebecca said. Brock children playing with Churin younglings, Torrens and Lumeri teaching in the same schools, humans running restaurants that serve food from 20 different worlds. This is what we are protecting, not territory, not resources. The idea that different species can build something beautiful together. Crystales was silent for a long moment. Then the ancient Lumary straightened, decision made. You are right, Ambassador. If humanity is willing to sacrifice for us all, we cannot stand aside. The being turned to face the assembly. I am making an executive decision without full council vote. All fleet assets will converge on New Haven. We may arrive too late to save the colony, but we will ensure the Retribution does not fight alone. The Brock Admiral nodded. My assault wings will push their engines past safety limits. We can arrive in 70 hours. The Torrens carriers will do the same, another delegate added. 80 hours. Churin Hive fleet in 78 hours, buzzed their representative. Rebecca felt something loosen in her chest. Not hope exactly. The odds were still terrible, but for the first time since the alarms started, they had a plan. I will coordinate civilian evacuation efforts. Every transport in range needs to reach New Haven now. Agreed, Crystales said. And Ambassador, tell your commander we are coming. Rebecca activated her communication device again. Retribution, this is Hayes. The cavalry is on the way. Just hold the line until they arrive. Lisa's response was calm, almost cheerful. Understood. We will see you on the other side, one way or another. Distance between the Retribution and the Harvester fleet closed to knife-fighting range. This was the kind of combat that made tactical officers have nightmares. No room for error. No time for second-guessing. Just pure chaos and violence. Lisa watched through the viewscreen as another Harvester exploded, torn apart by concentrated railgun fire. 11 down. 41 to go. The numbers were improving but not fast enough. Her ship was dying around her. Hull breaches on decks 3, 5, and 9, the damage control officer reported. We have lost the port side weapons array. Reactor efficiency down to 60%. Compensate with starboard weapons. Rotate the ship to present fresh armor to their firing line. The Retribution spun on its axis, a maneuver that would have been suicide in traditional galactic warfare. But traditional warfare relied on shields absorbing damage while ships danced at long range. Humans fought different. They built ships to take punishment and keep swinging. Another beam weapon struck, this time catching the reinforced armor at an angle. The blast deflected slightly, spreading damage across a wider area instead of punching through. Small victories mattered when you were outnumbered 40 to 1. Sarah coordinated the weapons teams with surgical precision, targeting Cluster 3, 4, and 7, firing. 3 Harvester ships took simultaneous hits. 2 exploded. The third survived but limped away trailing atmosphere and debris. 14 enemy vessels destroyed or disabled, 40 remaining. Then everything changed. Long-range sensors detected new contacts, not harvesters, something else. Lisa's heart jumped as she recognized the signatures. Are those Brock fighters? Ares confirmed. Affirmative, 30 Brock assault wings. They have exceeded safe engine tolerances to arrive early, detecting additional contacts, civilian vessels, hundreds of them. The tactical display updated, showing a swarm of ships converging on their position. Freighters, colony transports, mining vessels, personal yachts, anything that could mount a weapon and fly had answered an unspoken call. They came from a dozen nearby systems, civilians who refused to wait for the military to save them. A Brock pilot's voice crackled over the open channel, translated by the communication system. Human ship, you are not fighting alone, for New Haven. For New Haven, other voices echoed the cry. Brock, Churin, Torrens, even Lumary civilian craft. Species that had been arguing in council chambers 48 hours ago now flew together into certain death. Lisa felt something catch in her throat. All ships, this is Commander Park. Welcome to the fight. Ares, coordinate targeting with our new friends. Let us show these machines what the galaxy looks like when it stops arguing and starts protecting. The battle transformed. Brock fighters swarmed like angry hornets, using speed and numbers to overwhelm harvester targeting systems. A mining ship, its cargo hold converted into a massive kinetic launcher, fired asteroid chunks at near-orbital velocity. A Churin freighter rammed a damaged harvester, sacrificing itself to destroy the enemy. It was chaos. It was beautiful. It was everything Lisa had hoped for and everything she had feared. Harvester count down to 32, Sarah reported. But we are losing ships. 7 Brock fighters destroyed, 3 civilian vessels gone. Every loss hurt, but they kept fighting. A Torrens transport used its towing cables to snare a harvester, holding it in place while the Retribution blasted it apart. A Lumery yacht, no bigger than a shuttle, somehow survived 3 direct hits and disabled a harvester's weapon systems with precision laser fire. New contacts, Ares announced. Churin Hive fleet arriving early. They pushed their biological engines to critical levels. The Churin ships emerged from faster-than-light travel in a coordinated swarm. Unlike individual vessels, the Hive fleet operated as a single organism. Thousands of small craft moved with perfect synchronization, creating patterns of fire that confused harvester targeting computers. The enemy started to break. Harvester ships, built to overwhelm primitive defenses through sheer power, had no doctrine for this kind of distributed chaos. They tried to focus fire on individual targets, but the coordinated fleet kept moving, kept adapting, kept fighting. Harvester count at 20, Sarah said, disbelief in her voice. We might actually win this. Do not jinx it, Lisa warned. But she felt hope rising in her chest. 20 harvesters were still dangerous, but the odds had shifted. They were no longer impossible. A massive harvester, larger than the others, positioned itself at the center of the enemy formation. Energy readings spiked off the scale. Ares spoke urgently. Warning. Flagship-class vessel preparing super weapon. If it fires, it will destroy everything in a 300-kilometer radius. Lisa made a decision she knew she would regret. All civilian ships fall back. Military vessels with me. We take that thing down now. The Retribution accelerated toward the flagship, railguns firing continuously. Brock fighters followed, their smaller weapons adding to the barrage. Churin vessels formed a protective shell, absorbing fire meant for the human ship. The flagship's weapon charged. Lisa could see it building energy, a sphere of writhing plasma growing at the ship's core. If that thing fired, hundreds would die. Ares, give me everything. I do not care if it melts the barrels. I do not care if we burn out every system. Stop that weapon. The AI did not hesitate. Redirecting all available power to offensive systems. This will leave us defenseless. Good thing we have friends then. Fire. The Retribution unleashed hell. Every functional weapon fired simultaneously. Railguns glowed white-hot. Laser arrays pushed past safety limits. Nuclear charges detonated in sequence. The combined firepower of humanity's most advanced warship focused on a single target. The Harvester flagship's hull cracked. Internal explosions rippled through its structure. The charging super weapon destabilized, energy spiraling out of control. Everyone get clear, Lisa shouted across all channels. The flagship exploded with the force of a small star. The shockwave hit the Retribution like a physical blow, sending the ship tumbling. Alarms screamed. Systems failed, but they were alive. And the Harvester fleet was broken. The remaining vessels, leaderless and damaged, attempted to flee. They did not make it far. The combined Galactic fleet hunted them down one by one. When the last Harvester died, an eerie silence fell across the battlefield. Lisa looked at her crew. They looked back, covered in sweat and blood, exhausted but triumphant. Status report, she said quietly. 40 crew casualties, 86 wounded, ship is barely holding together. Raymond's voice was hoarse. But we are alive, little star, we are alive. Outside, hundreds of ships from dozens of species held position, waiting. Then someone started broadcasting, a single word repeated in every language. Victory, victory, victory. The Retribution limped back to Concordia Station, held together by emergency welds and stubborn refusal to fall apart. Debris from the battle still floated in the void belt, a graveyard of harvester ships and the brave souls who stopped them. 412 beings from 7 different species had died in those 3 hours of combat. Their names would be remembered. The council chamber looked different now. The same delegates sat in the same seats, but the atmosphere had transformed. Fear had given way to something else. Respect, maybe, or recognition that everything had changed. Rebecca stood at the central platform again, but she was not alone. Commander Lisa Park stood beside her, uniform scorched and torn, left arm in a medical brace. Chief Engineer Raymond Park joined them, his face showing the exhaustion of a man who had worked miracles to keep his daughter's ship flying. Representatives from the civilian fleet scattered throughout the chamber, ordinary people who had become warriors when the galaxy needed them. Crystallis rose, moving slowly as if weighted by the gravity of the moment. This council convened to judge whether humanity's warship was too dangerous to exist. We have our answer. Rebecca tensed. Everything humanity had built in the galactic community still hung in the balance. They had won the battle, but political fights were different from military ones. The ancient Lumery continued. The UHNS Retribution is dangerous, devastatingly so. Its weapons bypass our defensive systems. Its crew fights with a ferocity we cannot match. In the wrong hands, this technology could shatter the peace we have maintained for thousands of years. The chamber fell silent. Rebecca felt Lisa shift beside her, ready to defend her ship and crew. But, Crystallis said, and that one word changed everything. We also learned something else. We learned that danger can serve life as easily as it serves death. We learned that courage is not unique to any single species. And we learned that when the galaxy faces extinction, we need people willing to stand in the fire. The Churin delegates stood, mandibles clicking in their version of applause. The Hive observed the battle. We watched human, Brock, and Taurans fight side by side. We watched civilians become soldiers to protect strangers. This is not the behavior of conquerors. This is the behavior of protectors. A Brock military commander rose next, scales gleaming under the chamber lights. My fighters trained for years in traditional combat doctrine. We learned formations, shield management, and energy weapon tactics. The Retribution threw out every rule we knew and won anyway, not through treachery, through innovation born of necessity. My people lost 3 transport ships in the battle, a Tauran civilian captain said, tentacles gesturing emotionally. But we also saved 8 million lives on New Haven. That trade, as terrible as it feels, is mathematics I can accept. Those who died are heroes. They should be honored as such. Rebecca watched as delegate after delegate stood to speak. Some praised the Retribution's crew. Others talked about the civilians who answered the call. A few discussed the tactical implications of kinetic weapons and distributed fleet actions, but all of them agreed on one thing. The galaxy had been unprepared for the harvesters. They could not afford to be unprepared again. Crystallis called for formal votes. First motion, the UHNS Retribution will not be banned or dismantled. All in favor. Every delegate in the chamber raised their hands, or tentacles, or whatever appendages their species used for agreement. The vote was unanimous. Second motion, humanity will share Retribution's technology with all Council member species. This technology will be used exclusively for defensive purposes and joint fleet operations. All in favor. Another unanimous vote. Third motion, we will construct 20 additional vessels based on the Retribution design. These ships will be crewed by mixed species teams and operate under a unified galactic defense command. Construction begins immediately. All in favor. The vote passed. Rebecca felt tension drain from her shoulders. They had done it. not just saved humanity's place in the galaxy, but transformed that place into something greater. Lisa Park stepped forward, her voice carrying clearly despite her exhaustion. "If I may speak, honored delegates." Crystallis gestured permission. "My crew fought like demons in that battle, but we are not special. Every person in this room would do the same if their family was threatened. Brock, Churin, Torrens, Lumery, human, it does not matter. When monsters come for the innocent, good people stand up. That is not human nature. That is universal nature." She paused, looking around the chamber. "But I want to be clear about something. The Retribution is a warship. It was designed to kill efficiently and survive impossible odds. We are very good at both. If you take our technology, you take responsibility for using it wisely. These weapons can save civilizations or destroy them. The choice is yours." A young Churin delegate, the same one who had asked Rebecca about human motivations earlier, spoke up. "How do we ensure these weapons are never turned against each other?" "You build something stronger than weapons," Lisa said. "You build trust. You train together. You eat together. You learn each other's cultures and languages. You make it impossible to see your crewmates as anything other than family. Because when you are in the fire together, species does not matter. Only character does." Raymond Park added his perspective. "I built the Retribution in secret because I was afraid the galaxy would not understand. I was wrong. You understand perfectly. War is terrible, but extinction is worse. We have the knowledge to prevent extinction now. We just need the courage to use it properly." Crystallis moved to the center of the chamber, light refracting through crystalline form in dancing patterns. "This council has stood for 12,000 years. In all that time, we have maintained peace through diplomacy and economic pressure. We avoided arms races. We banned destabilizing innovations. We thought we were wise." The ancient being looked at each delegate in turn. "The harvesters taught us we were fools. Peace is not the absence of weapons. Peace is the presence of people willing to defend it. Humanity showed us that truth. Now we must live it." "This day marks a new era," Crystallis declared. "We are no longer separate species sharing trade routes. We are an alliance. A true one, bound not by treaties but by blood spilled together. Let the records show that on this day, the Galactic Defense Fleet was born." The chamber erupted in sounds that transcended language. Churin buzzing, Torrens color displays, Brock tail thumping, Lumery light patterns, and human cheering all blended together. Different expressions of the same emotion. Hope. Rebecca looked at Lisa and Raymond. The commander smiled despite her injuries. The engineer wiped tears from his eyes. They had come to this station expecting judgment. They left as heroes. Outside, in the shipyards orbiting Concordia, construction crews from 20 species gathered around holographic blueprints. The first Defender-class vessel would launch in 18 months. 20 more would follow. The galaxy was preparing for war, but more importantly, it was preparing to survive. 3 years passed like a breath and an eternity. The shipyards above Concordia Station had expanded to 10 times their original size. Defender-class vessels took shape in construction bays that stretched for kilometers, each ship a collaborative masterpiece. Brock engineers refined the armor plating. Churin technicians optimized the weapon systems. Torrens specialists designed improved life support. Lumery scientists enhanced the power cores. And human crews trained everyone in the brutal efficiency of kinetic warfare. Rebecca Hayes walked through the completed flagship, the GDF Unity, marveling at what they had built. The ship combined the best of every species. Sleek Lumery design merged with human practicality. Churin distributed processing systems networked with Torrens adaptive controls. Brock combat doctrine integrated with human tactical flexibility. Impressive, is it not? Crystallis appeared beside her, crystalline form reflecting the corridor lights. 3 years ago, I would have called this impossible. Different species working together this closely, sharing technology, training for war as allies rather than competitors. The harvesters gave us a common enemy, Rebecca said. Nothing unites people faster than a shared threat. True, but threats fade. What you built here goes deeper. Look. Crystalis gestured to a group of crew members passing by. A human weapons officer laughed at something a Churan navigator said. A Brock engineer helped a young Torrens technician adjust their environmental suit. A Lumary commander reviewed tactical displays with her mixed-species team. They are not pretending for diplomacy, Crystalis observed. These bonds are real. You changed how we see each other. Rebecca smiled. Lisa Park changed how you see each other. I just did the paperwork. Do not diminish your role. Without your testimony, without your willingness to share our darkest discovery, none of this happens. The galaxy remains divided and unprepared. A communication alert interrupted them. The station's central AI spoke in calm tones. Priority alert. Deep space monitoring stations detecting massive energy signatures in the void belt. Signatures match harvester profiles. Full fleet awakening confirmed. Estimated vessel count, 10,342. The words hung in the air like a death sentence. 10,000 harvester ships. The vanguard of 50 vessels had nearly destroyed them despite everything they threw at it. Now the entire fleet was waking. Rebecca forced herself to breathe. Sound general quarters. Activate the defense fleet. This is what we prepared for. The station transformed. Klaxons blared. Blast doors sealed. Crew members sprinted to their stations with practiced efficiency. Outside, 127 Defender-class vessels powered up their reactors. 3,000 supporting ships from every galactic species moved into formation. The Unity's bridge was controlled chaos. Commander Lisa Park, now promoted to Fleet Admiral, coordinated the defense with the same calm intensity she had shown 3 years ago. Raymond Park monitored engineering systems across the entire fleet. The crew, drawn from 18 different species, worked together with the seamless precision of a well-trained orchestra. Harvester fleet is moving, the sensor officer reported. They are heading for the core worlds, multiple targets. They learned from the Vanguard's failure. They are not concentrating their forces. Lisa studied the tactical display. Red icons representing harvester vessels spread across the map like a plague. They are trying to overwhelm us with numbers. Hit everywhere at once so we cannot defend everything. What do? A young Churan tactical officer asked. We do not try to be everywhere. We be somewhere they cannot ignore. Lisa turned to the communication station. All fleet vessels, this is Admiral Park. The enemy wants to scatter us. Make us chase individual targets while the majority of their forces destroy our homes. We will not give them that satisfaction. She highlighted a position on the map, directly between the harvester fleet and the densest concentration of inhabited systems. We position ourselves here. Force them to go through us if they want to reach the core worlds. Make them fight the battle we want, not the one they planned. That puts us outnumbered 80-1, someone calculated. Better odds than the retribution faced, Lisa said, and this time we have friends. The combined fleet moved into position. Defender-class vessels formed the front line, their heavy armor and devastating weapons ready. Lighter ships arranged themselves in supporting layers, creating overlapping fields of fire. Civilian militia vessels, thousands of them, took positions throughout the formation. 3 years of training showed in their coordination. The harvester fleet approached like a tide of destruction. Each ship was massive, biomechanical, and utterly alien. They moved with single-minded purpose, weapons charging, ready to consume another galaxy. Range in 5 minutes, the sensor officer announced. Lisa opened a channel to the entire fleet. This is Admiral Park to all vessels. 3 years ago, 50 harvester ships nearly destroyed us. We won that battle because people from across the galaxy refused to let innocents die. Today, we face 10,000 enemies. The odds are worse, the stakes are higher, and we are stronger. She paused, letting her words sink in. Each of you has trained for this. You know your roles, you trust your crew. When the shooting starts, remember why we are here. Behind us are trillions of people who have no idea this battle is happening. They are living their lives, raising children, building dreams. They depend on us to stand between them and extinction. Some of us will not survive this fight. That is the truth of war. But if we hold this line, if we make the harvesters pay for every meter of space, we give those trillions of innocent people a chance at tomorrow. That is worth dying for. The channel filled with responses. Churin battle songs, Brock war chants, Tauren's harmonics, Lumeri light displays, human voices raised in determination. Every species, every culture united in defiance. All vessels, Lisa commanded, weapons free, show them what the galaxy looks like when it refuses to die. The Harvester fleet opened fire first. Beam weapons capable of cracking planets lashed across space. Plasma bombardment turned vacuum into hell. Matter conversion fields reached out to consume everything they touched. The defense fleet answered with human fury. Railguns launched storms of metal. Point defense lasers created walls of light. Nuclear weapons turned the void into fields of miniature stars. Missiles with Churin guidance systems found targets with impossible accuracy. Brock ships rammed harvester vessels in suicide runs that destroyed both. Tauren's carriers deployed fighter swarm that harried the enemy from all angles. The Battle of Concordia had begun, the largest fleet action in galactic history, 10,000 harvesters against a galaxy that refused to surrender. In the Unity's tactical center, Lisa Park watched her fleet fight and die and keep fighting. She thought of the young Churin delegate who asked why humans would sacrifice themselves for strangers. She finally had the complete answer. Because we are not strangers anymore. We are family, and family protects each other. The battle raged on.